Diane, it's 8:30 p.m. on February 24th, and I am now entering the town of Twin Peaks. I will be meeting the superfans on the corner of Sparkwood and 21, and I do believe I see them before me now. Last call, Troy Pacelli.
Good evening. It's good to see all of you.
And of course, Flappy's number one fan, aged boomer.
Roof, 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 roof. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the cells when they were in the cells in the last episode.
And of course, last but certainly not least, Troy's much better half. Mm-hmm. The reason why I know you're all truly watching Netters Network.
Good evening, and be nice, boys.
I imagine a talking piece of cherry pie when I see that image, like coming out of a piece of cherry pie. Like you don't dare
and it
eat
starts bleeding when you cut into it or something like that.
I don't know. I'm like
the person you're sitting with at the table starts to have convulsions or something.
That'd be Cooper's worst nightmare. He goes to eat the cherry pie, and there's like a face appears in it. And, like there's a dilemma: yeah. Should I eat this or leave it alone?
Actually, I picture that Cthulhu pie that you see in all the shares on social media.
I'm kind of picturing the how coffee will get like that foam on top that sometimes looks like a face, like two eyes and a mouth, and it starts talking to him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would like to say hello very quickly to everybody currently following along on X. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I also want to say hello to a few people who've joined us here in the live chat. FKHC 2005, sometimes known as Tim. Channel member JPRPH1. Friend of the channel, Enigma Severus. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Faithful Blue Wrench channel member, The Bird Woman of YouTube. Watch out for her channel, Fluff Chick Productions. It's Connie Cleary. Andrea Black in house. And YouTube Police, aka Belt Loop. Good to see you, sir. All right, so as you mentioned,
I'm looking at my hi, sweeties.
Yes.
Saying hi to everybody in the chat. Cool.
Right on. Geek Flag with Nate Nose. Good to see you, sir.
Hey, Nate. Hello. That's right.
Channel member. All right. Well, as we said in the intro, this is officially Twin Peaks Day. February 24th, the day that Agent Cooper arrived in Twin Peaks, which is also fitting because a couple of days ago it was Kyle MacLachlan's birthday. So,
indeed.
Happy birthday, sir. All right. So last week, we watched the pilot film for Twin Peaks, and due to the length of the film and the length of time allotted, we felt like we didn't really hit on certain things as much as we would have liked. Yeah. So we set up this little deep dive discussion to, dive in a little bit further into the pilot. So, of course, as usual, full spoilers. So if you have not yet seen Twin Peaks, it is available on physical media, all 3 seasons, including the film Fire Walk with Me, which recently got a 4K Criterion edition. and the series is at present available on Paramount Plus. If you and Firewalk with Me is also on HBO Max along with most of David Lynch's films.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In
And the
case you
return, I assume, is available on Showtime, right?
I would think, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and that does get us to just a reminder. Not only our spoilers incoming, but we are going through this at this point, assuming that everyone has seen Twin Peaks, because we all last year watched. Well, it actually goes back farther than last year, doesn't it? We watched through all of the episodes of Twin Peaks, Firewalk with Me, and then a whole bunch of other David Lynch projects, films, some of the extraneous material from Twin Peaks and so forth. So at this point, the people that have been with us on this journey all along, you guys are all caught up. You know all the major spoilers. And so we are now going through it all again with an idea that we already know what it's all leading up to. There are no more spoilers. Let's find the connections that we wouldn't have caught the first time through.
You're saying there aren't any more spoilers. Well, I'm using probably the wrong verbiage. We may find things that it's like, oh, I never thought of that, or I never noticed that before.
And that is our goal, is to point out some things that you may not have caught going through it before. But now we're doing it without, having to step on eggshells about ruining a plot point or something.
Yeah, because somebody didn't see the last season.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was nice to be able to have somebody watching it for the first time with us to vicariously enjoy that newness. But now the newness is worn off, and we're going to dive deep.
So I guess we're going to dive deep into the pilot now.
Yeah. So I've got a bunch of notes here. You want me to go ahead and start off?
Sure.
Please do.
So, quick trivia question: who was the first character you see in Twin Peaks?
I know.
Go ahead and answer.
Mrs. Packard.
Josie Packard. That's
Yes.
right.
I was
Right.
going to say Flappy because he's in the opening.
Well, okay.
Well,
Yes.
Technically, yes, he's right.
Technically,
You know what? I
she's right.
apologize. Yes.
Because the flappy apologist has to apologize, right?
Yes.
So you're absolutely right. But Josie Packard was the one that I was looking for. Oh, maybe I should lay out the format that I'm literally going to go broad strokes quickly through a recap of the episode, but I'm going to do it from this particular perspective. One of the things I love about this pilot episode is it takes a large ensemble cast, right, and introduces you to them so that you know who they are, how they connect to each other, and you actually care about them. And that literally is what hooks you into the show, right? So you start out with Josie Packard. I think you get right off the bat, she's coming off as your femme fatale with the that Asian mystique, right? So you're already in, what do you call it? In mystery mode, right? In noir mode. Who is this? And not why should I care? I already care. I just want to know who she is, right? We find out that she was married. Well, as time goes by, we realize who she is. She was married to Andrew Packard, who died in a boating accident, leaving her the legal owner of the Packard sawmill. She is also, we find out at the end of this episode that she's in a secret relationship with Harry Truman.
Unless you're going to say Harry Potter.
Well, there's that too. The sheriff who lived. Pete Martell is the next character that we see, and we realize very early on that he genuinely loves his wife. And his wife is a cold bitch who is distant and doesn't give a crap about him. She also doesn't really like her sister-in-law, and that's going to come into play later in the episode. Pete's on his way out to go fishing, and he's the one that finds Laura's body wrapped in plastic right on the beach in front of his home. So Catherine Martell, of course, Andrew's sister, Pete's wife. She dislikes Josie because Josie inherited the family business, doesn't understand it. It's not really explicitly said, but I'm sure there's got to be the element of, you were the pretty trophy wife. You were never meant to be, involved in family business. You bitch, that kind of a thing. Yeah. So Pete goes to call the police, and he talks to Lucy Moran, who is the receptionist at the Twin Peaks Sheriff Department. I don't mean this in a negative way to say that she's simple-minded. She's a very simple-minded type of girl. She's not, but you find out that she's actually way more clever than people give her credit for. She's overly concerned with conveying herself clearly, so she over-explains herself, and she seems to have difficulty with object permanence and spatial awareness. We see that in this first episode where she's talking on the intercom and is shocked that someone she was talking to on the intercom, who should be in that other room, is now standing in front of her. Doesn't make the logical, associations of what's going on outside of her periphery. She takes the call from Pete and transfers it to the sheriff, again being overly explicit about which phone she is transferring it to. Sheriff Truman is sort of your straight guy, right? He's the most normal person here, and in a way I always felt was meant to be something of a audience insert, so that you can kind of take the weirdness of the rest of the show in stride the way he does. I've likened Sheriff Truman to being like the Watson to Cooper's Sherlock Holmes. He tells heightened sense of awareness, big deal. A murder's happened, so he tells her. He tells Lucy, have Andy and Doc Hayward meet me at the sawmill. Okay. So Andy Brennan, right? Soft-hearted deputy, cries while taking crime scene photos, romantically involved with Lucy, and you immediately care about the characters that seem genuine, right? We talked about Pete and how he feels about his wife. We talk about Lucy just being very sweet, if maybe a little simple, and Andy just being childlike in his heart, probably not in the best job for him, but maybe in some ways it is a really good job for him. He wants to do good and he wants to help people, but he's strongly affected by it. So Doc Hayward identifies Laura's body. He's the town doctor. He delivered Laura, and he happens to be the father of Laura's best friend, Donna. We'll get to her in a minute. We next see Sarah Palmer at home, very upset, very nervous. She had gone to check on Laura to wake her up, as she always does, because Laura oversleeps. Time to get up, go to school. Her bed hasn't been slept in. I don't know where she is. So she immediately calls the parents of Laura's boyfriend, her boyfriend being Bobby Briggs, and talks to his mother, Betty. Says he already left for football practice. But Sarah clearly knows that something's wrong. Sarah is your typical mom who is keyed into what's going on with her kids. And even when she doesn't know exactly what's going on, she knows something's wrong. So-and-so wasn't where, she was supposed to be, so on and so forth. So, of course, she's going to be nervous. Then we're introduced to Audrey Horne. Spoiled rich girl wearing very unfortunately Lolita sexy outfit with saddle shoes, and she is chauffeured to school from her father's hotel, the Great Northern. Let's see, I can't even read my own writing here. Right. So Ben is Audrey's father. Ben Horne owns the hotel. His lawyer is Laura's father, Leland. And we'll discover that Audrey has an autistic brother named Johnny that Laura tutored. So we'll get to him in a bit. Leland takes a call from his wife. Right in the middle of a big business meeting about a land deal, which Ben isn't too pleased about. But of course, I get the impression that Sarah doesn't call him at work very often, and he understands she's upset and nervous. Well, she's probably out with Bobby. I already called. Bobby's not home. Well, there you go. They're not wherever they are, they're probably together. No, see, the sheriff shows up just as he's on the phone with her, and goes to tell Leland. Doesn't even say it in words, but Leland knows, and he drops the phone. And of course, Sarah completely breaks down. And again, one of the best depictions of grief I think I've ever seen. In any physical media, let alone television, but television, cinema, I can't think of one better than the performance given by Grace Zabruski playing Sarah Palmer. Just absolutely heartbreaking. So now they know that Laura's dead. We go to the Double R Diner where Bobby has been. He did not, of course, meet up with Laura, as we know. He skipped football practice to get a cup of coffee because he must just be really, really excited about the coffee from the Double R Diner. And since he just happens to be there, he just happens to have skipped football practice for this awesome cup of coffee. He offers to give the waitress, Shelley, a ride home. And of course, they get a very knowing look from the owner of the diner, Norma, because she knows that they're seeing each other. And
there's
Bobby says, "Huh?"
Oh, and there's a German waitress. Sorry.
Yes, the German waitress is late because she was having a good time with her man. So that doesn't really play a lot into the story, but it is a slice of life detail, because obviously it's the whole working in shifts, right? The one is getting off as the other one is. Well, I didn't mean that to be a double entendre, but I guess it was when the other one is showing up. Anyway, so yes, we established that Shelley is seeing Bobby. So Bobby was cheating on Laura, but we also find out that Shelley is cheating on her husband, Leo, who is a truck driver.
A psycho truck driver.
A psycho truck driver who couldn't possibly be home. Everything's great because he called me from Butte, Montana, and oh wait, he's actually home, which I never really made the association until last week that she talks to him in Butte, Montana, and suddenly he's there, and that freaks her out. Exactly the same way that Lucy was freaked out when she, is talking on the intercom, and then suddenly the person she's talking to is standing in front of her. you know. Again, the spatial awareness kind of concept, assuming that someone is where they say they will be when they're talking on.
And she actually believed that Leo was where he said he was going to be.
Right.
It's like
she learned a very valuable lesson, right?
It's
there.
like,
Yeah,
how long
absolutely.
you been married to this jerk, and you actually believe him?
Well, right. We're not really clear how long they've been married, but yeah, exactly. But oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, I always got the idea, and stop me if I'm out of line here, that she's basically in the same age range at this point as the high schoolers, right? Bobby, Laura, right? She's about there. Maybe a year older, maybe, but I don't know. I kind of, because maybe they explained this and I just have missed it all these years. I always took it as she quit school to take the job.
I would have to double check the what is it, the secret history of Twin Peaks,
Shelley's timeline. What gives?
Shelley's timeline. They do go into that, but you are right. I actually was under the impression that she was about a year older. Remember, this is a class of '89, so these kids are all in their senior year. So I figured that Shelley was actually the year.
I know. I'm just
previous.
I was also kind of halfway joking about the fact that there may be a little bit too old to be playing the character.
Oh, they're all too old to be playing.
They all are, actually.
Which is a very, very good thing, because we are dealing with what would be some very uncomfortable underage situations here.
Yeah.
That, you know. Yeah.
I don't know, though. I argue that good-looking people look young, and maybe not so good-looking people look older than they are, right? So
you might have a point there. Yeah. Well, it does come down to evolutionarily what we consider to be attractive and what we find endearing, and that comes down to a concept called neoteny, or having an affinity for youthful appearances, and that is partly an evolutionary trait. Why? Because we want the mature members of our species to care for the younger ones, because we literally have a biology that requires care, or you can't just plop out a baby and let it start foraging for food on its own. It will die. We are a nurturing society, or we need a society. We need nurturing in order to survive as a species. So that is built into our what's that term? It's not conscious. It's
ancestral memory.
No, what animals do without thinking, burying nuts for squirrels.
Instinct.
Instinct. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. It's an instinct that we have, but these things get kind of cockeyed in the brain, and so we find these as attractive. In the general sense. It's also why big eyes and big heads in cartoons are thought to be cute. When you see the cartoon character give you the big eyes with the with the sparklies, well, the babies have big eyes, and when they're in need they start to cry, their eyes water. You have an immediate reaction to that. Interestingly, it's also why cat's meow sounds like a baby crying. At least that's what a lot of evolutionary scientists believe, that cats benefited from the fact that they sounded like human babies, that, oh, poor thing, and, would give them a saucer of milk. And, exactly, yeah. So anyway. So yeah, neoteny. But yes, it is true that all the attractive people were do tend to look younger, and it works out perfectly, because the school kids could then be played by older people without the risk of just everybody feeling creepy. right?
Mhm.
So I need to know meow in order to get more sympathy. Well, I'm not sure how well it works better for girls than it does for guys, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Because now we could start getting into masculine versus feminine traits and all kinds of stuff. But Flappy auditioned for the role of the limo driver, but he got thrown off set for putting his wing where it shouldn't have been with Sherilyn Fenn. He also ended up with a cracked beak. I am not surprised.
Well, stuff
It was
happens.
worth it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and we'll get back to Audrey and Sherilyn Fenn in just a moment. But I was about to say that the whole thing about Norma, knowing what was going on with Bobby and Shelley, not something she could really have a strong opinion about, since we know that she was seeing a married man, and she also happens to be married. So, can't be calling the kettle black, or the pot, or is it the I forget.
Pot calling the kettle black.
Right. She can't call the kettle black, being a pot, I guess. So Leland goes to the hospital to identify the body. And he is also clearly grief-stricken. Audrey gets to school and changes from her saddle shoes to red high heel pumps, which I believe has another nomenclature in the vernacular. But she changes her shoes at her locker and has a cigarette. They definitely use cigarettes as a means of getting across who the bad people are and who the people are who are having a difficult time coping. So it is seen as a crutch and an indicator that lack of purity. James asks Donna at her locker if she's seen Laura, and then notes that it is a nice day for a picnic. Doesn't sound like anything, except that they both share a little secret laugh about it, and we'll get back to that in just a moment. Then the announcement comes from the principal in the school that Laura's dead. Bobby is questioned about Laura by Sheriff Truman, and I guess that makes Bobby the first legitimate suspect, because officially he is the last person to be known to have seen Laura. Principal George Welshek is another character he has a very small role, but he does it so well. He is clearly affected by this. He barely is able to get through his announcement to the school before he has to shut off the intercom system and break down crying. And this is another one that I think everybody is looking at everybody suspiciously before you know who killed Laura Palmer. But now in retrospect, you can look back and see that certain people were just genuine. There is nothing about this principal that is dubious in any way. So we know that he, and think about it from the point of view of a principal of a school in a small town.
Yeah.
This doesn't happen. This should never happen. And one of my kids was murdered. And from his perspective, one of the best of them.
I feel like in small towns, though, you always have the story of the kids that were drinking too much, and then they get into the horrible car accident on prom night or some other homecoming or something like that, and that's always a thing, but not a murder usually.
Yeah, exactly. And even in those circumstances, you go, what a terrible tragedy. They were such good kids. They made one bad mistake one night because they
peer
weren't
pressure. Yeah.
Well, peer pressure, or they'd been good all this time and they wanted to cut loose and not fully understanding the consequences. But
right.
It happens. But yeah. So let's see. And of course, we also see the reaction that Donna, Audrey, and James are having, and they're all very different. Donna and James clearly look worried when they see that Laura's not there. When the announcement comes in, Donna just loses it. She's quickly surrounded by her close group of friends. And James is very much your James Dean type, very stoic, but it's very clear that he's upset as well.
Just before the announcement, you see outside some girl just taking off across the school lawn
and screaming.
Yeah. And it's like, who's that and why is she screaming? We never find out who that girl is or what her connection to Laura might have been.
Yeah, my theory on that, well, I mean, from a larger standpoint, she never comes up again, so there doesn't seem to be any major role for her in the story. I always assumed that she was one of the student volunteers working in the principal's office, because you always had one or two kids.
Yeah, I was an officer.
Yeah. And she found out about it before anyone else in the class did, had a strong emotional reaction, and went a little kasha goo goo,
Yes.
And here's, this is of course me knowing what I know, looking back, but there's a lot of, as you expect in a mystery like this, a lot of red herrings thrown at you. Don't be offended, Flappy. That's not what I'm talking about. And we're going to see this because Cooper, when he finally, we've gone all this time and Cooper hasn't even come into it yet. And we see him mostly, aside from Laura, as being the main character of the whole show. He starts, taking some of the most obvious ones and going, nope, it wasn't him. Nope, it wasn't him. Nope, it wasn't him. And in a way, it almost is playing to the mystery trope. Just because it's obvious doesn't mean that's who it is. But you also realize in retrospect that the characters were portrayed, whether the actors knew or not, they were at least directed appropriately so that the people that were genuinely upset or show genuine sympathy or genuine love, it comes through in the performance. And those that are being deceptive, you're always looking at them going, we're going to get to that in just a second. But first, the sheriff and his deputies go to the Palmer's residence to collect evidence. Sarah's completely out of it, and Doc Haywood gives her a sedative. In trying to answer the sheriff's question, Sarah says that last night she knew that Laura had come home from Bobby's at 9 p.m. the night before. And the diary that they're going to find upstairs in just a moment will later tell us that she snuck out thereafter to meet Jay. And what I love about all of this, having rewatched this pilot episode again, right after having watched Fire Walk with Me, is how exactly, even though Fire Walk with Me was done a couple years after, all of this had wrapped up, it was like more than 3 years after they had done the pilot, but all the details are there. Her going out with Bobby. We see her with Bobby. We see what they did together. We see her get home at 9 p.m. We see her take a phone call that Sarah's going to reference in a moment, and then go out to meet James. So seeing the prequel first actually really is like big time spoiler for the entire series. But if you've seen the entire series, then it's not a bad idea to watch them in chronological order now. Again, with because there are no spoilers anymore, and going, wow, those details were really there.
Yep.
3-4 years earlier when they did this. It's brilliant.
Plus, it is like when you watch this along with Fire Walk with Me prior, you're sort of seeing. I don't want to say it's like a Rashomon sort of thing, but like you're seeing things from like the same scenes you're having told about from other people's perspectives. Do you understand? So it's interesting.
Great point.
Yes.
Because you never know how reliable a witness that person is who's talking about things, after the fact that we didn't witness as an audience. Right. But then when we witness it as an audience, we're like, wow, they were being very honest, It also, and sometimes if it doesn't match up, you realize why, either because they're hiding something or because they misunderstood the circumstance they were in. They were an unreliable witness because they were seeing it from their perspective. We saw it more objectively, and we know they weren't lying. They were just wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then Sarah has a reaction to hearing the sounds of the deputies upstairs going through Laura's room, and it's very violently fearful. Plus, they also make a point to show you the ceiling fan is still on, which she has come to associate consciously or unconsciously with something bad going on. Hey, Jamie Lynn, good to see you.
Yep. Hello.
So that reaction is a little bit telling, especially for those of us that know all of the circumstances. And then when she starts to calm down, this sadness creeps in again, and she says, "Yeah, I know it wasn't Laura. It didn't sound like her. It wasn't her sounds." And anybody who lives with somebody knows, especially more than one person, what the sound of someone's footsteps sounds like. It is, you're not the Quizette's Hatterack because you didn't turn around and your wife just walked up behind you. The sound of her footsteps. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with a mother knowing her daughter. And it's almost like what's not being said is she realizes she is never going to hear those footfalls again, which is also very heartbreaking. Let's see. And then Truman is told by one of his deputies that Janek Pulaski, who works at the sawmill, called into the sheriff's department to report that his daughter Ronette did not come home last night. So yeah. That's going to come up in just a second. Because of that, Josie closes down the sawmill. Tells everybody, go home, be with your families. It's not good business sense, but it's good from a human standpoint.
Right.
This is the kind of thing where you, as the owner of a business, you garner a lot of points with your employees, showing compassion for them, and
as opposed to making them work in the factory in the midst of a hurricane. I'm sorry.
I'm just, I've heard of some pretty bad ones, or, making the receptionist go into the office through a flood to see if the building is open, having to wade through, waist deep water, in a downtown setting, the kind of thing some businesses do. And this, of course, really upsets Catherine, who is, a manager of the business. And she fires some random person just because she's a bitch. And just then, Ronette is returning to town, crossing the bridge that whether or not it's intended in the lore of Twin Peaks, we know that bridge happens to be at what would be the corner of Sparkwood and 21. She's walking on the trellised train tracks, and is spotted by a railroad worker. She's in tattered, bloody clothes. Her face is all bruised up. Her wrists have been bound with ropes hanging on them, and they take her to the hospital. James is on his motorcycle, and he stops at his uncle's gas farm, the gas station, which is next to his uncle's house, to give him a note, and asks him to give it to Donna. Not entirely clear, why he couldn't talk to Donna in school, but there does seem to be some sort of a distance that they keep between each other, even under those circumstances. So he gives a note to his uncle to give to Donna. Ed's wife, Nadine, is fixated on him putting up some drapes in the front room before nightfall. One of her unique distinguishing features is an eye patch over one eye, which is not explained for a very long time, but eventually we find out that it was an accident that Ed feels responsible for, and it's partly why he's still with her and feels like he has to take care of her. And at this point, finally, whom we consider to be the main character enters the story. Dale Cooper enters Twin Peaks finally. As a matter of fact, do I still have it up? I don't know if I do or not. I have too many browser windows open. There it is. Diane, 7:30 a.m., February 24th, entering the town of Twin Peaks, 5 miles south of the Canadian border, 12 miles west of the state line. Never seen so many trees in my life. As W.C. Fields would say, I'd rather be here than Philadelphia. It's 54 degrees on a slightly overcast day. Weatherman said rain. If you could get paid that kind of money for being wrong 60% of the time, it would beat working. Mileage is 79,345. Gauge is on reserve. I'm riding on fumes here. I've got to tank up when I get into town. Remind me to tell you how much that is. Lunch was $6.31 at the Lamplighter Inn. That's on Highway 2 near Lewis Fork. That was a tuna fish sandwich on whole wheat, a slice of cherry pie, and a cup of coffee. Damn good food. Diane, if you ever get up that way, that cherry pie is worth the stop. I love that because it establishes, and then he gets into what he's going to do when he gets into town. And interestingly, does everything he says he's going to do in the course of the rest of the episode. You get the impression that Diane is someone back at the field office that he has to report his expenditures to for reimbursement and so forth. He's presumably going to be sending in receipts, but he is, in advance telling her details so that she's already got them. Maybe he's being a little bit like Lucy in this, giving more details than are necessary, but he's a professional. That's what he does. We'll later also find out that he's out of the Philadelphia office, so that makes that Philadelphia joke a little bit more, humorous from his perspective. And we establish where Twin Peaks, a fictional town in our world, is located. It is 5 miles south of the Canadian border. So honestly, not very far. You could cross into Canada pretty much on foot if you so choose. And some characters do that, so it's not a big surprise. 12 miles west of the state line. So I'm guessing 12. This is Washington State, so 12 miles. It would have to be, if it's 5 miles south of the Canadian border, you've got to be in the northeast corner. So what is that? Oregon? That's right next to them.
Yes.
Yep. So 12 miles from Oregon. Probably not going to want to walk that, but you might. You know, it is humanly possible. But let's see. So he tells Diane that he is going to the hospital to check out that girl that came down off the bridge. That's Ronette. He meets with Harry Truman and has exactly the opposite kind of meeting as Chet Desmond does with the sheriff in Deer Meadow the year before. We talked about that a couple weeks ago when we watched Fire Walk with Me. He immediately checks under the ring finger of Ronette's left hand and finds nothing. Again, we know what he's looking for, but right now, Dr. Watson doesn't know. So the doctor, the actual doctor, who explains Ronette's situation, she won't be able to answer your questions. She's catatonic. She doesn't know where she is. She isn't even aware that she is. She has been assaulted numerous times in the past 24 hours. So she's physically not in very good shape. So it's probably best that she shuts down for a while. She's got a lot of healing to do. But the only answers they're going to get are the pained babbling that she does, telling Laura not to go there, you know, which we will get in a future episode from Waldo the Minor Bird. So then we meet Dr. Jacoby. And when I said that people's reactions, you could tell when they're genuine and when they're not, Dr. Jacoby is probably the only person that we have seen in this whole episode who seems pleasantly happy. He's almost giddy. And this is why I speculated, knowing this character and knowing his relationship with Laura, he must have been stoned. He was frickin' stoned. That there is no clear evidence to that in the episode, but I think he was smoking some of the wacky tobacco.
He doesn't strike me as the type.
He absolutely is. He absolutely is. He talks about it extensively in the Secret History and the Final Dossier. Yeah.
You know, he was doing some stuff in the 60s too, probably, right?
They get really, he was on drugs. Yes, he absolutely was. He absolutely was. My notes, I'm going to quote my notes. Dr. Jacoby, FFS. He seems way too happy. He must be high. Now, this is key. He admits to treating a minor without her parents' knowledge. He's a psychiatrist. That is a huge, red flag sort of a thing. I would argue that this makes him suspect number 2, especially because as soon as they leave Jacoby, he says to Harry, he's a psychiatrist? Yep. So it's like, he's currently on Cooper's radar. That's very, very odd behavior. So then he goes and checks. Go ahead.
I was just going to say goodnight to Enigma Severus.
Oh, take care, Enigma.
And welcome to a new name, Gavin Blackburn. Welcome.
Yep. Worst thing I ever saw in the workplace was seeing unconscious, worked, being searched for his clocking card so he could be clocked. Oh God.
Yeah.
Look, the last place that Netter and I worked at together, we were working late, and the girl across from me died. And yeah, I mean, while we were there, I attempted a CPR. They brought in somebody who was, you know, had previously been a paramedic, so he was a little bit better prepared to deal with the situation than I was. But it was very, very.
It was very bizarre because, like, not even 10 minutes prior, she'd come around by my desk looking for some candy because I usually had a candy bowl out. And then she went back to her desk. She sat down. She's sitting there. And then she kind of slumped forward, and you could hear her snoring because she kept saying she's really tired. And so she was snoring, and we're all giggling because we're like, she's asleep. And then she just kind of flew back in her seat, and we're like, wow, she is so out of it. She's getting comfortable now, not realizing that at that very moment she had had a massive heart attack.
Yeah. And my problem was the first thing I did was I sent somebody to go find an AED, and there were none. The only one that they could find was in the workout room on the other side of the building. But unfortunately, by the time they got back with the AED, the paramedics were already there, so it was no longer needed. So I raised a big stink about the fact that there are no AEDs in the office. Might have made a difference, you know.
Or at security,
Or
where
at
you would
security.
expect one to be.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, I digress. But I don't even remember how we got. Oh yeah, it was Gavin referencing that. Big Al's dropping in late, but he wanted to. He got his laptop back at 8:30 this evening. That is good.
Right on.
I'm assuming everything is working since you're able to comment here. So, congratulations on that. Anyway, so Big Ed gives Donna the note, telling her to meet James at 9:30 at the Roadhouse. Her boyfriend Mike, who is on the football team with Bobby, shows up to pick her up, and she doesn't want to go with him, and he's very abusive, and he gets sent off by Big Ed because, hey, this is my place of business. Get out of here,
Good for him.
Yeah, because he's just being a complete jerk. But that's going to come back later on. Coop and Harry open the diary, which was locked. They didn't have the key, so bing, they just pop it open. You get the thing about the last entry was nervous about meeting Jay tonight. That's, James. And from Fire Walk With Me, we know that it's not nervous like, a puppy love kind of situation or she's intimidated or something. She knows she's saying goodbye to him. That's why she's nervous. Maybe nervous isn't even the right word, right? But how else is she going to convey it? She can't even really fully communicate what she's trying to say. She was more open about things in her secret diary that they did not find or have not yet found. She was much more guarded and coded in this diary that they're looking at. We'll get back to the secret diary later on. They also find a dime bag with a key. And of course, we know that the bag will test positive for cocaine. The key opens a safe deposit box. Andy is going to take pictures at the crime scene. They've found the crime scene, and he becomes upset. He calls Lucy crying, but he asks her to tell the sheriff that he didn't cry. I think that's kind of sad, but sweet. Bobby is now being interrogated by Cooper. Cooper knows early on that Bobby didn't do it. He passes a note to the sheriff, and the sheriff is like, He was our primary suspect. You've already ruled him out. The hell, you know?
I like that though.
Yeah.
It shows us he's smart, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and this goes back to, I'm going to take you back to I believe this is one of the missing pieces that we looked at. Correct me if I'm wrong, Stephen, but I don't think this was in the original Fire Walk with Me, where Cooper is having a conversation with what's his name?
Sam?
No, Ferrer.
Oh.
What's his name?
Albert.
Albert, right. Is having a conversation with Albert, and he's doing the whole like profiler thing, but it almost comes off more as almost a supernatural knowledge.
Yeah.
Could go either way given the nature of this story. And he's explaining, what Laura's doing right now and what she looks like and how old she is and that she does drugs. He knows all these things about her, even though he hasn't, the murder hasn't happened yet. And,
Right.
He hasn't been called in on it yet,
Because it is almost like this, it does come off like psychic ability.
Yeah.
He is seeing all of these things in dreams, but at the same time, knowing what we now know, especially after season 3, are they dreams or are they memories?
Good point. That is actually an excellent point. Yeah, especially after the last episode, especially since we're seeing Fire Walk with Me as a prequel after we've seen season 2, and we start to get some of that timey-wiminess, right? Because you have Annie Blackburn, in Laura's dream or in her bed or whatever. I'm with the good Dale in the lodge, write it in your diary, so we know that time travel thing is happening. It doesn't. And then of course you also have the arm saying, is this present or is this past, so you're absolutely right. It could very well be that after you get to that point in the second season, the last episode, there can be echoes of the future and the past now throughout the timeline. And sure, those absolutely could manifest as dreams, which does give more rationale to Cooper's methods, right? Trying to tap into the whole, Buddhist dream, awareness kind of a thing. We'll see that in the next episode when he's trying to remember his dream by pitching stones at an object. But was I right? Was that one of the missing pieces, or was that in the original?
It was a missing
Firework.
pieces. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. Let's see. Okay, so and then Bobby's getting interrogated by Coop. Coop says, yeah, he didn't do it, but he basically wants to let him go. And we're going to find out a little bit later in one of those great, like Sherlock Holmes type lines, yeah, we got to let him go because otherwise how's he going to lead us to Jay, right? But you honestly see. I'm going to jump ahead. I'm going to actually jump out of I was actually going in order, but as soon as he gets out of interrogation, Bobby goes to talk to Mike, and he says, there's some biker that we're going to bust his head, and his name starts with J. And then he turns and he looks, and he realizes that Lucy can hear what he's saying. So he's like, quiet. They get out of there. So Lucy types down everything they were saying, goes to share it with Cooper, and Cooper already knows. Is somebody that starts with the letter J, and he rides a bike. Yeah, how did you know? Just like when you see a magic trick and you're amazed by it, but then when you find out how the magic trick goes, you go, "Oh, okay, I get it." Or like sometimes they show people on social media where someone's doing a trick to somebody, you see it over their shoulder, so you see how they do it, and the other person's completely amazed, and you're like, "Okay, I understand from their perspective why they'd be amazed, but we saw how the trick was done." In retrospect, we know how the trick was done because we know that Cooper is looking for someone that starts with J. He asked Bobby, who was she seeing? She didn't love you. She was seeing someone else. I'll give you a hint. His name starts with J. And the bike thing, he looks real close at Laura's eye and he sees the same thing that Cooper did, the bike that's reflected in her eye. So that's how the trick was done. That's not a big whoo, you know. But it also shows, like I said, even though he didn't need her to tell her that, Lucy is clever. She's paying attention, and you know,
I mean, she acts like an airhead, but she's sharper than she's letting on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so then we have, oh, right, and again, that videotape that we saw was Laura and Donna at a picnic. So we know that Laura and Donna were at a picnic. We know that James took that video. Donna comes up with this whole contrived story. And again, that genuine reaction. We know she's covering for somebody. We might not know right then, but we know she's covering for James. But even covering for James, she is clearly distraught by the death of her friend. She did not have anything to do with it. And as an audience, we pretty much know that. We would be devastated if we found out that she did. And we're going to see, too, that James is also not responsible, but he does look very guilty. He is definitely the red herring of the story. But because everything that's happened to him in his innocence, he looks guilty. And in realizing that, he tries to cover it up, which also makes him look more guilty. Then we get Audrey scaring off the Norwegians, you know, making it all about her, right? We talked about how that's so much like, you know, prima donnas on social media. Something horrible happened, but look at me and how it affects me. Like I'm, you know, more important than, you know, the person it actually happened to and the people directly, influenced by it. Like I said, Donna covers for James. Okay, so then we get the lowdown on where the crime happened. They find the railroad car, ball peen hammer, blood, fire walk with me, and a little hill of dirt with half of a pendant on it, half of a heart, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw this exact scene in Fire Walk with Me, and we have seen that little pile with the object on it in Fire Walk with Me as well, but the year earlier, underneath the trailer that Chet Desmond goes to check out, and instead of being the locket, it is the ring. So this idea of jewelry being some sort of a totem or something connected, you know, plays itself out repeatedly. And we also see that James is at the overlook where we see that he has the other half of that heart. They go to open up the safe deposit box, and inside the safe deposit box is Flesh World magazine with a picture of Ronette Pulaski and, probably related, a picture of Leo's truck. Although I'm not sure that Cooper and Truman pick up on that. They're focused on the connection to Ronette Pulaski and $10,000. We know that $10,000 is from the drug deal that we saw, you know, a few days before when Bobby killed the sheriff's deputy from Deer Meadow. Leo doesn't want to hear about the murder on the news. We know now that he was directly involved, not with the murder specifically, but in the events that led up to her murder. So he wants to distance himself from it. And he also shows what an abusive asshole he is. And how he threatens to kill his wife if she smokes cigarettes other than her own brand. So we know that she's kind of trapped in a relationship she wants out of. So you almost kind of understand her, taking up with Bobby. Nadine calls to meet with Ed at the Roadhouse. Again, he's, we're setting up people to be all in the same place at the same time. Margaret Lanterman, the log lady, is introduced, turning on and off the lights to bring everyone to order at a town meeting where Cooper explains about a previous murder of what was her name? The one that was killed the year earlier.
Teresa
Banks. Right, Teresa Banks, and how this may be a serial killing. That Laura was the second victim that they know of, and he believes Ronette would have been the third. Interestingly, we know that is a mistake. We know he's wrong about that. That Bob had the opportunity to kill her and didn't seem to care about her. Kind of pushed her out of the train car because he was focused on the whole situation with Laura. That was a bigger fish he had to fry there. And there was no, I can't use that word on YouTube. What people do with their pets when they take them to have their hair cut?
Wow, we're now this is where we are.
Rhymes with that. Yeah, rhymes with that.
It's the replacement words.
Yeah, exactly.
No, verboten. Okay.
So Cooper explains this might be a serial killer. So I highly recommend that you keep your children safe by implementing a curfew. They don't go out after 9:00. But Donna overhears her parents talking, and Doc Hayward tells his wife about Laura having half of a pendant. They think that whoever killed her has the other half of it. Donna knows that James has it, so she sneaks out to go and warn him. After she sneaks out, Mike shows up drunk with Bobby looking for her. Is informed she's snuck out, so he knows that she's gone to the Roadhouse. And then, again, quoting from my notes exactly, shit goes down at the Roadhouse. All kinds, Donna shows up. Mike gets pissed off. He starts to get abusive with her. So Ed intervenes. He, has to leave his canoodling with Norma. Gets into a fight with the kids. Everyone, a whole fight breaks out. Joey Polson takes Donna to see James. He's one of the Bookhouse Boys. You don't know what a Bookhouse Boy is as of this episode, but we'll find out in the next couple episodes. They talk about the night before, their own respective perspectives of the events of the night before that we saw in Fire Walk with Me, where he gives a very accurate depiction of what he experienced. She seemed like Laura again, said she loved me, jumped off the bike, ran off into the night. I mean, literally everything exactly the way we see it in Fire Walk with Me. He says, nobody knows me. Donna doesn't even know me. Donna says, I knew her better than she thought. That's another aspect that we saw from Donna and her interaction with Laura in Fire Walk with Me. She knew more than she let on. Probably not everything she needed to know, because, of course, as the show goes, we see her in, what do you call it, detective mode, learning things as she goes. But yes, she did know more than Laura gave her credit for. They hide the pendant. They bury it in the woods under a stone. And James is immediately brought into the police station. He's put in lockup overnight. Of course, Bobby and Mike are already there because of the fight. As you alluded to at the beginning of the show, they start barking at him like dogs.
Yeah.
Because they're stupid.
Yeah, because they're dumb kids.
No, it's like the alpha dog thing, you know?
Yeah, and you get the
Alpha.
impression that James is not buying it. He's ready to rip their heads off too.
I would have loved to have seen them go at it right there, like just open the cell doors and see what happens.
And Harry goes to see Josie. So boom, we get the big reveal that, there's another affair going on we don't know about. And that prompts Catherine to call Benjamin Horn. We'll find out more about what that's all about. Now, cuts to Sarah having a memory or whatever and sitting up and screaming. But as I noted last week, it was edited with the scene of somebody with a gloved hand picking up the pendant and taking it. Someone that we know can't be Donna or James because they've been taken back to the police station. Someone is picking it up. And it's edited in such a way that it looks like Sarah is having a vision of somebody taking that pendant. I don't believe that's the case. Because, and I'm jumping ahead, she is going to explain that she remembered seeing someone in Laura's room and she had a vision of Bob. And that's what she's remembering and that's what she's screaming about. She has no idea about what's going on in the woods with the pendant. That's just my take. Anyway, thank you for giving me most of the show to recap the whole episode, but in so doing, allowing me to make a lot of the connections that I wanted to make at the time, and I kind of got lost with and didn't get around to.
So that's all for tonight, folks.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'm done.
I was gonna say I got 20 pages of notes here myself. Might take me a good hour to get through them, but I'm sorry, I'm just making a joke.
Hit it.
No, I think you touched on a lot of what we were thinking of, and I made a point that it was weird how well this complements Fire Walk, because it's almost like you're seeing the aftermath, but at the same time also sort of like other people's interpretation of events, or maybe they're exactly the same. So it's like an echo. It's almost like, you know what it is? It feels like an echo of what we just saw in Fire Walk. Like this is the echo of the events that happened there. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where, and I've said this about prequels, especially when people are, why do we need prequels? We don't need prequels. We don't need. And I was a big proponent for, we didn't need prequels to Star Wars. We already knew the basic story. We knew everything we needed to know from lines that were said throughout the trilogy. He's not a farmer, and he's got too much of his father in him. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
I was a Jedi Knight the same as your father. Great warrior, a good friend, and a great pilot. All these things that they're talking about. We don't know what the Clone Wars were about. We don't know, but we do know all that we need to know. And then when they went back to fill in the details, unfortunately, George Lucas is not Frost and Lynch, and he did not cover all the details. I think one of the reasons why I'm so amazed by how well certain things in Fire Walk with Me line up so perfectly with things that were said either in the series or in Laura Palmer's Secret Diary or other material is because it is so perfect. There are no plot holes. There are no, mistakes that can't be attributed to an unreliable narrator or a mistaken narrator. And it's very clear they paid attention to those details. It's also very clear that George Lucas did not pay that close attention to his own story when he did his prequel.
No, that was up to Marsha.
Well, yeah, Marsha wasn't around for the prequel, so that's this is what I said. De Palma wasn't there, and Marsha wasn't there, and Irvin Kershner wasn't there. So I mean, there was no one to help him. But David Lynch and Mark Frost, they had it covered. They really did. So there you go. In fact, so much so that when we get to the Secret History of Twin Peaks and the final dossier, there are things that don't line up, and you realize that's intentional. So Mark Frost had to be aware of the details in order to purposely put things in that didn't match up. Very impressive. You got to give him some credit for that.
Yeah.
Well, alrighty then.
Yep.
All right. All right. So I do want to say as a little piece of housekeeping, YouTube police, aka Belt Loop, if you're still listening, that was friendly fire. You're not blocked. That was done totally by accident. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Oh, did you do that thing where you booted somebody by hitting the wrong button?
No,
One of
Connie
my
earlier.
one of my wrenches.
Oh yeah.
So it's all good. Don't worry about it. We're working on getting that fixed backstage right now. So
I'm sorry, I missed that because I was so focused on my notes.
Yeah. All right.
Unless somebody else did something besides Connie, because Connie had accidentally blocked them.
Yeah.
All right, and I do want to remind everybody of some of the Twin Peaks affiliated channels, as I like to call them. Like our friend Cameron, Obnoxious and Anonymous, aka David Lynch's Worlds. I guess he's changed the name of the channel, or is thinking about it. I don't know, but so he's still up. He does a lot of Twin Peaks content. So does our friend Charlotte Nightstar.
Mm-hmm.
And let me look this up real quick. Cheryl Lee is actually in a film that's out right now. Low budget horror film that's getting some comparisons to Twin Peaks.
Interesting.
Cool.
It's called I Live Here Now.
Oh.
And it is directed by Julie Pacino.
The relation?
Al Pacino's daughter. Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Directorial debut.
Okay.
And it is getting comparisons to Twin Peaks, from what I understand. It's a lot of dream imagery involved in it, from what I understand. So I haven't seen it. I can't speak to it either way.
One other channel
that's out there.
One other channel, Camcorder Cameron. I mentioned her last week. She and Cameron Coultier did a collaboration where they were talking about the missing pieces. She's got a series on her channel where she goes through each individual episode. So you could go and check out. She's got one for the pilot episode too. She's got a very, very different style from us, but that's okay. She's still got great insights. She's also way prettier than I am. So just.
All right. Hello, Quapla, to our resident Klingon, Mark Malnikoff.
There you go.
Who has joined us. What did Flappy say when he flew over Dollar General?
What?
Cheap, cheap, cheap.
Okay. He likes finer things.
That's very funny, Mark.
Yeah, exactly.
He was a Whole
Anyway,
Foods
how's your
bird.
sex life? Anyway,
Oh, hey,
sorry.
Mark.
I still have to see that movie.
Yeah.
The
Oh
Room.
boy. Ah, yes. Thank you. Have we sufficiently run the episode into the ground?
I think so.
Okay.
But next week we get what for many people watching Twin Peaks was their first episode because the pilot was not available. So
Yeah.
okay,
Well, unless
So-
you saw it live, when it was
Right.
airing. Now, one thing I do need to say about next week, Netter, are we here next week?
Oh,
Yeah, we
Oh,
don't
good
leave till
point.
March.
Sweetheart, this is the last week of February.
yep.
Yeah, our trip isn't until isn't until the 17th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got 2 weeks. We won't be here in 3 weeks. We won't be here.
Right. We're leaving the 17th. So we're going to have to talk about what our absence is going to mean to the channel on the 17th. My apologies.
Well,
I'm getting a little ahead of you. Huh?
Well, I mean, you know what this means, and I'm sorry, Trey, both you and Netter, or
We're fired, right?
yeah, you're fired.
Okay.
Clean out your desks, and
But I work from home.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we do need to clean out our desks.
all right. Well, we do have to get Troy and Netter out of here because there's a particular program coming up here in a
That's
few
right.
minutes that I know I certainly don't want to get in the way of. So we're going to go one time around the horn here. Netter, what do you have coming up?
I might have a guest on Thursday.
Oh,
Just trying to work out the logistics. If they can't make it this week, they will definitely be coming up, be a guest in upcoming Thursday. Let's see. Saturday is not me. It's Big L. So we'll be over on Big L's channel for whichever movie that is, which I don't remember.
Johnny Dangerously.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Which I consider to be the Weird Al Yankovic parody.
Right.
And I'm guesting everywhere else. So I will be over on Sherlock Holmes with Troy right after this. Yeah, and like I said, I guest everywhere. And of course, I am the one and only Gazette that you will find only on Sundays on Geeky Geesers.
Yep.
And Mark says security will escort you out. All right. Troy.
I am security.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, right. Well, you can escort yourself out.
Convenient, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. So, like she said, right after this, we will be watching the return of Sherlock Holmes, the second stain. That'll be on my channel. Come on by, and especially if you're a Sherlock Holmes fan. This Saturday, last call with Troy Pacelli and Agent Boomer and Netter's Network. We are having a very special episode with a very special guest, a very special subject matter expert on The Incredible Hulk. We're going to be talking the TV show, the movies, cartoons, comic books, and especially toys as we welcome back Tony Roberts of Analog Toys this Friday night. This Friday night. Well, for him, it'll be Saturday morning. So while we're drinking, whatever adult beverages we're having, maybe he'll be having mimosas in Australia. I don't know, something. But so that's what I've got coming up this week.
All right. Boomer.
Nothing. I'll be on the last call this Friday for the Hulk stream and joining for Geeky Geezers on Sunday. Well, unfortunately, we have some more celebrity deaths to talk about, but we'll get to that on Sunday.
Yeah.
Including.
Yeah, did you get the one I sent you?
Yes.
A rather
Yes.
sad one earlier tonight.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny because I am literally looking at his face behind Netter's back.
Yeah.
Up there in yellow.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah, it's just a coincidence, but it's still kind of sad.
Yeah.
But
And
anyway.
hello to me and my monkey, Mark Ruffalo. Yes, he is a monkey.
There you go.
Hello. All
Oh
right.
gosh, he just he's the gift that keeps on taking. I
Yes,
swear.
he is. All right. Well. Speaking of swearing,
Yeah, right.
that's going to be coming up here in a moment. All right.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I'll be in the chat over on Sherlock Holmes. Of course, let's see. Thursday, I will be joining Outlaw Bill for action theater. This week's movie is Apocalypto. We are going to do Apocalypto this week, guys. Apocalypto, that'll be at 4:30. 11 p.m. right after Geeky Geezers. Sorry, not I did it again. Damn it. Thursday things will be my program Coming Attractions, where you get to find out what I will be up to next week, up to and including my appearance on Films with Friends with Al Troy and Netter for Johnny Dangerously. Sunday, I'll be joining Outlaw Bill for Western Cinema Presents, and this week's movie is a spaghetti western from 1966 called Arizona Colt, which actually looks pretty good. I've seen a few minutes out of it. It might be a fun one, guys. So join us for that. And
Now I want spaghetti.
yeah,
I can make some.
I know, right?
yeah,
We got plenty of pasta.
I know.
right. And let's see. Later on that night, 8 p.m. Unscripted, episode 141, which I'm going to entitle "In a Manner of Speaking." And there is going to be a strong language warning on that episode.
Well done, Bart.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to be real careful, but to make my point, there are going to be some choice words. So there's going to be a language warning on it. If you have kids in the vicinity, keep them out for this one. It's going to be R-rated, guys. I'm sorry, but it's subject matter. It's going to be what it is. And later on that night, reserved seats will return. Writer Albert Lanier will be my guest, and we're going to be talking about the Oscars from the point of view of a journalist covering the show. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, so stay tuned for that. All right, and then, of course, join us right back here. Same bat time, same bat channel for the next episode of Live from Sparkwood in 21. So, any last words before we call it a night?
I was just thinking that I need to get back to putting the schedule on my community tab for everyone.
Yeah.
But you guys are all awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for going on this adventure again with us. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially knowing now what we do that we didn't know then.
Indeed.
That was an awkward sentence, but you know what I meant.
All right.
Sure. All right. So, as I say at the end of every broadcast from HQ, the corner of Sparkwood 21, and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond. Good night. Take care. Stay strong. Be safe and healthy. Happy Twin Peaks Day.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is how we win. So as Flappy flies, we conclude. As soon as I can push the button.